I think everyone loves seeing a hand trap in their opening hand. It's nice opening an Ash Blossom and maybe even a Nibiru and knowing you're safe, and then your opponent normal summons a rocket monster. I think we all know how infuriating it is to have the outs, but for your opponent to still combo off into multiple interruptions. Dragon Link is brutal for this reason. As a combo player, I absolutely love making degenerate boards or even just FTKing my opponent. But hey, I also hate being on the receiving end. As you guys know, I recently got top 10 on Dueling Book rated with my Dark Warrior FTK deck. Though it is certainly a good deck, as many people have noticed, it struggles going second. You aren't always going to win that die roll or get as lucky as to face a going second deck. Because of this, I thought, how can we eliminate as much RNG as possible and focus on having a solid game plan that can deal with oppressive combos? Well, the clear answer is just play Mekk-Knight Invoked, but this doesn't address the issue I presented initially, with hand traps only having a moderate success rate at giving you a competitive advantage. I strayed away from the tradition to create this list and saw success. Here's a list that got me to number 2 on Dueling Book rated. This list maximizes high impact cards to help produce or eliminate as much RNG as possible. More into that later though. We start with our favorite spellcaster, Alistair, at a 3 of. Followed by this, we have our Mekk-Knight package, 3 purple, 2 blue, and 1 indigo. A lot of lists I see playing yellow, but I honestly found that we don't need a 4th Mekk-Knight summon in one turn to win. I would always rather have a more impactful or mass spell and trap destruction choice, such as, of course, Cosmic, or even Lightning Storm, as yellow isn't even guaranteed to be live. My favorite hand traps is the Kaiju package. They aren't traditional, but can clear a Dragoon or Wind Barrier statue. They can also set up very easy OTKs in combination with Slumber, but we'll touch on that later. And of course, we got that column manipulation. Our only real hand trap is Nibiru at a 2 of. It's great when we see it against rogue combos and very easy to side out. Wiping a PK board or stopping bird up is still strong, but I don't feel the need to play 3 because we have more consistent ways of breaking boards. Our last monsters are the Dark Magician and Red Eyes. Though it's a toss-up whether Alistair or Dark Magician is the true ultimate wizard in terms of attack and defense, I feel that this doesn't need much explanation. The one Red Eyes fusion does, however. I know why a lot of lists are playing 2, we definitely want to resolve it off of Verte Anaconda, but think for a moment, how many games is Verte actually disrupted here? I think in about 100 games, my Verte Dragoon summon has only been stopped once or twice. To me, I don't think that justifies playing a second copy. Verte cannot be Ash and your opponent likely wasted their interruptions earlier in the turn. 3 Meltdown and 2 Invocation is standard. Because we don't play Desires, I don't see the need for a 3rd Invocation. Sure, it fits the meme of always having it, but honestly, I don't see it as really necessary. To conclude our fusion spells, we have 3 Super Polymerizations. Honestly, this card is nuts. It single-handedly deals with most Dragon Link boards and is an easy out to Dragoon, hurts the mirror, and can push for OTK. Your opponent can negate Nibiru. They can't negate Super Poly. Adding to our non-respondables, I'm running triple droplets. I honestly like this card so much better than Dark Ruler No More, as it allows you to OTK and can bait interruptions. If you're going against Mirror, Mekaba or Dragoon have to discard to negate your Alistair normal summon. You can chain droplets, sending Alistair to the graveyard to negate the effect and waste one of their resources at the same time. Lightning Storm and Duster are our mass spell and trap removers, and you can even catch an unfortunate player off guard and kill off all of their monsters. Adding to the mass removal, we run 2 interrupted Kaiju Slumbers. Honestly, this card is incredibly slept on. I know that it isn't always live and can be negated, but wiping board and giving them a Godarla deals with the negates and helps you make Dragoon, as well as of course pushing for game after a 2700 pop. Plus, it's pretty good in the grind to add the last Kaiju from deck to hand. Our minor removals are the 2 Cosmic Cyclones. I run a lot more spell and trap hate in this deck because nothing hurts more than a Floodgate or Mine. As you guys already know, it is pretty powerful against Eldritch too. To conclude the main deck, we have Prosperity and Terraforming. Prosperity is very good in this deck as we run plenty of Super Poly targets or situational Link monsters. At the very least, it can bait and negate and make your invoked plays live. Keep in mind that it halves the damage you inflict, so you likely won't be winning the turn it is activated, but sometimes the goal just needs to be breaking the board and taking back control to win in the following turns. That's okay with me. Side deck is where some fun begins. Phantasme helps close the Dragon Link matchup out, giving you 4 draws off of the LP play. This will help you ensure that you have a hand that can out the opponent's board. The third Nibiru is in here mainly against rogue decks. Dragon Link can deal with it, but not Salamangreat and not other options. Lancia is good against Mirror, Dinos, or Phantom Knights. It's honestly a flex spot. You can play around with other hand traps here too. The third Cosmic is necessary for trap-heavy matchups. Floodgates are the bane of our existence. We can play through a couple negates but struggle against helmet options. So, the Spice. You have a high chance of going second game 1, your opponent is likely going to make you go first game 2. Thankfully, you can establish 2 negates through Dagroon and Mekaba, but why not add the Degeneracy that increases your odds of winning? Summon Limit is generically good against most decks and hardly affects ours, as we don't rely on too many summons outside of the first turn. A Pointer of the Red Lotus and Solemn Judgment secures our boards, stopping Dark Ruler, Kaijus, or other random outs. I chose 8 as a very specific number because we have 8 cards that we can side out going first. Those cards are the Kaiju Package at 5 cards and the Lightning Storm at 3 copies. That's how to side for going first. Following side, we have a diverse range of monsters in the extra deck. We start off with the invoked monsters that actually matter, 2 Mekaba and 1 Augo. Augo is best for late game as it gets pretty crazy stat boosts through its effect, but I don't really find the need to play more copies here. Followed by this is Purgatrio. I honestly hardly ever find the need to summon Purgatrio, but it's actually pretty good at breaking Dino boards. I usually use it as a stepping tool to Verte Anaconda. The stepping tool logic also applies to Kaliga. It can be used for stalling, but I usually am just using it to climb. Raijin is different, however. I think Raijin deserves a spot in the deck for your Tri-Brigade matchup. It is an easy out to Barrier statue if they have Win in Graveyard, or can even be a super poly target with Alistair, getting rid of their Simorgh and setting their statue. Next up is our hard super poly choices. We have Starving Venom, Dragostapelia, Mud Dragon of the Swamp, and Prank Kid's Rocket Ride. The last choice here is kinda weird, but trust me, it works. Since Battle Butler is a wind, you could technically super poly Alistair and him together to make Raijin, but you won't always open Alistair. Instead, this is a direct way of eliminating 2 board wipes. Yes, it will still activate your opponent's monster's effect when they're sent to graveyard, but a couple stray kids don't pose much threat to our OTK push. Dragoon Package is standard with 2 Anacondas. I actually like to use the first one to bait a Solemn Strike or other disruption, and make the second one with the remaining monsters. But of course, you can still resolve the second one with Super Poly, which is also pretty strong. Artemis enables our turn 1 boards by creating summonable columns for our Mekk-Knights and putting a light on field or engrave to facilitate our Mekaba summons. This one's pretty basic. The last spicy tech, though, that doesn't seem too much play is actually Link Spider. This is to link off a Lost World token your opponent gives you, or even your Nibiru token. This is important as a Verte Anaconda takes 2 effect monsters to summon, so tokens don't count. So to go back to what I was saying at the start of the profile, I am maximizing high impact cards over even trades such as Ash Blossom. If one hand trap is all it takes to win against your opponent, you likely were winning anyways. I don't want to hope that my opponent doesn't have an extender. Instead, I'd rather let them do their combo and have a reliable way to deal with it afterwards. And like I've said, I've had success doing this. This is a shorter video than I typically would post, but I'm in the middle of my work week, so I'm on a little bit of a time crunch. I don't want this to be the final video for Mekk Invoked, but want to bring you guys content that you would actually enjoy and be able to sit through. My favorite element of the deck is the critical thinking aspects and knowing when to activate specific cards to overcome difficult situations. Playing this deck is honestly like assembling a puzzle. I think live gameplay would be the best way to demonstrate the deck in action, but what do you guys think? Is this something I should do, or should I call it at this? Let me know in the comment section below, and I will try my best to reply to everyone who comments. A lot of you have come from MCole's channel after seeing the video I uploaded. Even after the misplay in the first game I sent, I'm glad you guys stuck around. I love making competitive Yu-Gi-Oh content that is easy to digest and gives you all an insight on how I think towards the game. For those who aren't subscribed, please consider doing so, and I will try my hardest to continue uploading content that is interesting, insightful, but of course also entertaining. Until next video, stay safe and stay hydrated. Peace.